Hello and welcome to Creativity with Don on the Third Live. That's me. Today we're going to be showing you how I made a $7 million egg design for Logan Paul. We are streaming live to Instagram as well as to YouTube at the moment, and I think it's going to be pretty cool, pretty exciting. Let me explain what this is all about. So Logan Paul started a new NFT project called Crypto Zoo, and it's this thing. Here it is, Crypto Zoo. Crypto Zoo is an autonomous ecosystem where users can buy, sell, and trade exotic animal hybrid NFTs. And then the hybrid animals are categorized by rarity. The rarer your animal is, the more they can yield and stuff. So he reached out to me to design these eggs. So I designed these eggs for Logan Paul, and I think they made 10,000 of this egg, and then they sold out. So there's no more of the first egg. And I looked on OpenSea. That's the website that I'm on right now. And I saw that the volume traded was 2.4 thousand Ethereum. And that blows my mind because that's a lot. I looked at how much that translates to, like how much is 2.4 thousand Ethereum tokens. Let's just do the math here. ETH to USD. Or ETH, sorry, Ethereum to USD. And if we converted the, 2.4K, or I guess like that's what, 2,400. So I did 2,400 Ethereum. I looked at that number, and that's legitimately over $7 million. And so a design, oh, you can't see it on the screen. Sorry, let me put that over here. So yeah, right now one Ethereum coin equals about 3,000 US dollars. So if you had 2,400 Ethereum coins, you'll have about $7 million. And that just blows my mind that a design that I made for Logan Paul is now selling, it's sold out, and it made Crypto Zoo about $7 million. And here they all are. So here's Crypto Zoo. You can buy these eggs and stuff. I'm still learning about the project. I mostly worked on it in a capacity as like a designer. I helped design some of the eggs and stuff. That's all I can really share about that at this time. But for now, I want to show you how do you even go about making an egg. Like, how do you make an egg like this, and how do you paint it? So this is going to be more for designers. So how would you like 3D model an egg in Cinema 4D, and then how do you texture that egg that you modeled in a program like Substance Painter? So please join me over onto YouTube. That's where we are doing the formal stream, and I'm really excited. And let me just fix my green screen real quick. I see a little filtering problem happening. Let me grab my footage, go to filters, go to chroma key. I'm going to change the green screen because it was kind of clipping out for a second. Okay, there we go. I think I fixed the green screen now. It's a little bit better. A little fuzzy, but I'll keep it. Okay. All right, so yeah, I want to talk to you about how do you go about making an egg like this. So step one is I jump into a program like Cinema 4D, and I wanted to show you a couple of tools to do this. So the first one is to use this tool at the top, the spline pen. So I grab the spline pen and I go to a front orthographic view. So that means we're seeing the front of our thing. And what you want to do is draw with the spline tool the shape of an egg. Now it's okay if you make a mistake like I did here. We can always go back and adjust the position of those vectors. And so this is how I went about making the egg design for Logan Paul. I started off just by kind of creating half the shape of the egg. And by the way, what we're going to be making is this. So this is the egg I made for Logan Paul, and they sold 10,000 of these eggs, and it made a lot. And I want to show you how you go about making those eggs so that you can also have some fun making some artwork for clients and make a living doing design stuff. Okay, so I made like half the egg like this, right? And then in Cinema 4D, they have a tool called the lathe brush. It's underneath the generators, and I can go to lathe. And if I make the spline, this curve that we've made, if I make this a child of the lathe, it will spin it. And now we actually have a 3D model of the egg. Now this is a really weird shaped egg, and that's why we go back and now refine the shape. So as you adjust the shape of this curve, you see how it's affecting the entire shape of the of whatever you're working on. So when I was designing the egg for Logan, this is exactly what I was doing. I was just changing the shape, the start and end angles of of my egg. So I'm just going to make a little curvature up there, maybe make it a little bit wider at the base, maybe kind of like tilt the angle a little bit there. And this is really how I went about sculpting and 3D modeling the eggs that they have on Crypto Zoo right now. Just working on that vector shape. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with the egg of that shape, the shape of that egg. That's what I have right now. And we can still, we can modify it in here if you wanted. But it's really cool that we could really start off working from a single spline, and that will get us a proper shape to sculpt. You can use this to make anything. I mean, you can add more points and turn this into like, a cup or like a vase or like a mug or a top bottle. I mean, it's a very powerful tool set to use the lathe brush. But my interest in using it today is really just to show you how I sculpted the egg. So it was really just playing around in here. And then once you do that, I'm going to back it up. So let's say I'm happy with the shape of this egg. I went in and I had to convert it to static geometry. So I do convert to current state to object. And now the lathe kind of disappears. And now we're just left with all this geometry. These polygons, everything that I'm highlighting here, these are all called polygons. Oops. And polygons make up your geometry. So if I put, a single polygon can have, in this case, this one has 4 sides. But then if we start adding up all of them, we get some pretty cool effects. For those of you just joining, I'm showing you how I made an egg design that sold for $7 million for Logan Paul on OpenSea last week. Here it is. You can look for it yourself. If you go to cryptozoo.co, I made this egg design for Logan Paul. They made 10,000 copies of the egg and they sold them as NFTs. And then all of them sold out. And I looked at how much volume was traded, and it says that 2,444 tokens of Ethereum were sold. And then when we converted that to US dollars, that was about a little over almost $8 million. So it's like 7.8 million US dollars worth of eggs were sold on OpenSea. And it blows my mind. And I just wanted to show you how I made that egg. I have it open right here, or at least I'm showing you the process of how I made that egg. So once you have that lathe tool, we now have polygons that make up the outer shell of your model, right? So at this point, we can work on, maybe sculpting it with more precision. So I'm going to grab the sculpting brush inside of Cinema 4D, and I'm going to grab the grab brush. And I went in, I turned on linked symmetry, I turned on XYZ, and then I went to like a pretty front view, and I started to make a big brush like this and started to kind of push and pull the shape. I also went through and I hid the old lathe tool because we don't need it anymore. So now we're just working on a single piece of geometry. And I went through and just made little touch-ups and micro adjustments to the shape of the egg to make sure that it feels right. Since it's a pretty symmetrical object, you can link symmetry in Cinema 4D on multiple axes at the same time. So actually, I think my camera's a little off-center here. Let me move it over there. Maybe I'll just tilt. Oh, I see. I moved it this way, so I have a little bit more real estate on the side. Okay. So with the egg, you can turn on linked symmetry when you're moving stuff. So I have it linked on X, Y, and now it's linked on Z as well. So you can like grab it from all different angles. And you can link on all 3 at the same time. This one's nice because now we can work on one side of the model. And you see how it's affecting all sides of the egg. So I use this to kind of sculpt the egg really precisely and to make sure that I got the right kind of angle that I wanted from all sides. And I just go around the egg, making sure that it's a little bit more pointed towards the top, and then also still keeping that nice round beveled edge at the on the top. Okay, so then once I had a model like this that I was happy with, we needed to unwrap this model so that I could paint it. Right now, if we go into our UV editor, you see that the polygons are flattened out. So all of these shapes are represented here. These are, on the right side of the screen, we have the 3D representation of the object. And on the left side of the screen, we have the 2D representation of the object. And so you want to make sure these are aligned so that when you're painting, it's easier. So for example, I want to be able to paint from left to right and mean that it's going from left to right. Right now, the UVs are oriented incorrectly. So I'm going to grab this whole UV and just rotate it. So that way, when I'm in my other programs and I'm painting from left to right, I also, I want to make sure it works. And it looks like it's also still backwards. It looks like these are now, like I have the top of the egg selected, but you see it's selecting the bottom of our UV. So for this, I grab my UV coordinates and I can do something like mirror vertical. And now we flipped it. So now the top left corresponds to the top left of my map. And my top right corresponds to my top right. And this is great. You also see where it put the seam. This line right here is, that white line is the seam. This is the edge that we drew in our tool, and that's what it's using to unwrap. And yeah, now we can start painting our model. So we have an egg, happy with it. I often like to bring in a reference human to see how large the egg is. So if we bring in a human reference, you can see that right now the egg is like a dinosaur egg, it's humongous. So I'm okay with that, but this is the time where you can go in and decide the correct and proper scale of your model. So I'm going to bring in a null object and link my egg to it, and then I'll just scale down that null object to the size of the egg that I want it to appear as. This matters for the textures that we're going to paint. So cool, we have an egg now, and it's modeled. It has its UVs unwrapped because we used the lathe tool and it was pretty friendly. So now we can go into the painting process. So what I would do is I go to my standard tools, and I go to switch this to startup, and then we can go to File and choose Export. And actually, I just realized we should apply a material on here so that it doesn't come in empty. So I'm just going to apply a white material to the egg, and then we'll go to File, Export, and then we can export our what do you ever call it, your FBX, or you can export an OBJ file in this case, .obj. So I'm going to export this out, and I'll just leave this in my live test. We're going to call this egg, Logan Paul egg. I can't share everything we did yet because some of the stuff that we did is not released yet, but I'm only sharing kind of what is publicly released. They released the first egg of a number of eggs. Those ones have sold, so I felt comfortable to share how those eggs can be made in 3D programs like this. All right, so now that that's done, the next step is to open up Adobe Substance 3D Painter. That's what I use to paint the egg. In this case, this is an egg that I already painted for Logan. It's got different materials on there, and I'll show you how we can get something like this going. So let's start off from scratch. I'm going to make a brand new composition and up the resolution a little bit, and then we go and find our recent egg. So I put that under live tests, and then there is the egg Logan Paul, and we'll go ahead and open that. Okay, so this gives us our egg, and what you see now is the UVs are kind of flipped. What you see on the right of the screen is the UV coordinate, and what you're seeing, so that's the UVs on this side, and then on the left side is the 3D model. And in Substance Painter, you can paint either the 3D model or you can paint the UV. Either one you're allowed to work off of. So it's really a really powerful tool. So the first thing I did with Logan Paul's egg for the Crypto Zoo was I went to edit. I went to bake my mesh maps. This gives you a lot of really good data to start from, things like normal maps, world space normals, ambient occlusions, curvature. All that kind of data can come into your model if you do this baking at the very beginning. So I'm going to bake a 2K resolution map onto all of the different planes of my model here. It won't look like it changed too much, but it now knows a lot more about the model, and it'll be a lot easier to paint. And then we can start painting. So I'm going to start off, let's say we wanted a red egg. In this case, I'll just fill it with red. And then I'm going to add a black mask. And now wherever I draw on the egg is going to have spots. And so this is literally how I created the spotted eggs, the spotted eggshell for Logan. So I went through and I kind of spent more time painting nicer dots all over the egg. Right now it kind of reminds me of Yoshi, the egg right here. So I'm just painting different little blobs. In Substance Painter, which is what we're using right now, you can choose to paint with proceduralism, or you can choose to paint more manually like I'm doing right here, which is, I'm drawing in the exact dots that I want and the different little shapes. And what the real power in Substance Painter for creating assets, 3D assets for clients, is when you're able to do both. You can do stuff that's procedural, and you can do stuff that is also hand painted like. So I'm just going through and just making little splashes of eggshell color. Okay, cool. So we got this spotted egg. Love it. Next, what I was doing was I can apply like generators to these shapes. So let's say I want it to be a little bit rougher on the edges of these eggs. Instead of it being like a nice soft curve like that, we can have it be rougher. So I'm going to grab all of those masks and then add a generator. And then we can generate some distortion. Or actually, no, let's not use a generator. Let's use an effect. So I'm going to right click on here, go to the effect filters, and I can add something like a slope blur, blur slope. And what that did was, look at that. Now it just kind of made all the edges a little bit choppier. And that's actually really cool because now, it just adds a lot more dynamic nature to our eggshell. And we can play with those blur slope amounts. So you can play with that intensity. You can lower that intensity. You can increase that intensity. You can stack layers on top of layers. We can also change the intensity divider. So this kind of gives you a little bit more granular control. You can also change your source parameters, like do you want blur to be the source? Do you want contrast to be the source of the edges? Do you want it to tile more, or do you want it to tile larger? Kind of like the larger tiles for this one for me. And now we have some cool, spots. What's really cool also in Substance Painter when you're making your 3D assets is that you can change your mind about stuff. So let's say we get some feedback from Logan and that we need a different color egg. We can work non-destructively. I can go back and change this color and think of like, okay, maybe this looks good, or maybe we want it to be a little bit less saturated. I can bring down that saturation amount. And this is really what we were doing back and forth when we were customizing the first set of eggs, CryptoZoo. The other thing that's nice in Substance Painter is you can paint in parameters other than color. You can paint in roughness. Look at this. Roughness is how shiny or smooth something is. So you see how now it's a lot shinier wherever the eggshell is. Or now it's almost like a perfect mirror in there. You see how that that bright light is changing its focus as it goes across the planes of the egg. You can also make it more or less metallic. So just by cranking up the metallic, we now have this really cool spotted glass-like effect. And I can maybe boost up the roughness a little bit, so we have kind of like a rough metal. So you get to make really cool designs very quickly when you're working with Substance Painter. And I can maybe really roughen this up so it almost looks like a stainless steel spray painted eggshell circles on top of our egg. And we can also make the egg more matted. So I can make a new fill object for the egg color, and we can find a different color for the egg. I might tint the egg a shade of purple. And maybe we want the eggshell to be a little bit rougher so that light really scatters a lot on it, more opaque. And just like that, we have a brand new egg. I then took this egg design and I sold it to Logan, and then he turned these into NFTs. So there you have it. That's how you go about making some assets. In this case, my egg design, I'm so proud of it. I can't believe this egg design made them over $7 million in under a week with the same principles that I'm showing you here. And there's a lot of power that comes with using these tools. You can also play with the height, for example. So right now I just increased the height on all of the egg shells. And you can see the height looks like a little bevel, right? Like look at that. There's now a little bit of height. You can see the edge. You can see how there's like a little edge now that we added to the model. And those will live on our model and make it a lot more interactive. To play with that roughness slider. Maybe we want even greater height or lesser height. Maybe we want these to be like indents. We can also play with the opacity. So now we can actually see through the egg as if it's like cracked open. But we didn't want to do that because there are going to be things that, you know, you're supposed to find out from buying the NFT later what's going to be inside the egg. So it wouldn't make sense to do an opacity channel there. Right now I have the lights on that are pretty strong. So if I turn down the lights of our environment, it's pretty dark. You can also paint in Substance Painter. You can paint in lights. So I can go to my emissive channel and let's say I'm going to fill the whole thing with like glowing pink. It's glowing pink now. The whole egg is glowing pink, and we can add a black mask, and now we have, you know, it will glow here. If you're not seeing the glow, you can change this thing in Substance Painter called your post effects. So I can activate post effects and turn on glare, and then crank up the luminance value and the threshold of my glare. And now you can see that our egg is actually glowing in those areas. So you can use this to make almost like a cool cyberpunk design. And you know, as I'm designing on it, we're getting these really cool light effects that are appearing on top of the egg. And again, we could choose to draw these in manually, or we can draw them in procedurally, or you can mix the two. So I can maybe make like a big, oh wow, this one actually has after. You see that? When I deleted it, it has like an after image. I delete and then it fades. That's really cool. So that is how I made these egg designs for Logan Paul and made them $7 million. So I love doing designs and stuff, and I love showing the process. My whole goal with, you know, showing this is to help democratize this space, because if only a few people are able to make assets in the metaverse, then we're going to have a really monochrome metaverse. I would rather have a very diverse you know, metaverse full of all sorts of different life experiences and perspectives that can't be perceived, you know, when you don't have that life experience. You don't know what it's like. So by me sharing the information here, I hope that you can take this knowledge and you know, work for clients like Logan Paul or folks in your friend groups or neighborhood. And if you're curious, how did I even make contact with Logan? It was through Instagram. He saw a post that I made like a year ago. Actually, I can show you which one or I'm trying to think where it is. I think I re-uploaded it recently. I'll show you. I'll show you the post that I posted on Instagram that Logan Paul saw, and then from it was like, hey, I think you can make eggs. So I'll show you it. I went to, let me go to my Instagram page real quick. I'll show you which one it was. Because the reason why I bring it up was like, I wasn't paid to make my concept video, yet the concept video is what got me the great, you know, paid gig with Logan Paul. So it's important for designers of the metaverse to always be putting your ideas out there, and because you don't know who's watching. So I'm on my Instagram profile now. I'll show you which one it was. Oh yeah, follow me on Instagram. I post stuff like this all the time, a little bit shorter bits there. Let me see which one it has. It's like a ball thing. Let me see if I can find it. A colorful ball that I had up here out of a wall. I'm gonna find it hopefully in a minute. I posted a lot of stuff since then. Let me see if I can find it. Struggling to see it. There it is. So this is the post that Logan Paul saw on my Instagram, and there's actually sound design by Neon Code. So he sees this thing, and then I get a DM from him on Instagram, basically saying, hey, can you design this thing? And I'm like, yes. So that's fun. I'm going to leave the audio there. So essentially, the way that I designed that ball was pretty much the same way that I designed the egg today that I just showed you, where we start off with some geometry inside of Cinema 4D. We then take that geometry and in this case did a little bit more advanced stuff because the ball itself is actually changing shape. We call that displacement. So it's the displacer is changing on the model's geometry. So it's actually changing the height. But the way that I painted it was the same. You know, I brought in a lot of different paint materials into Substance Painter and started swirling them together using different generators to, you know, almost like a paint bucket to fill them all up. And so, yeah, So this is, I wanted to share this because this is why Logan reached out at all, was he saw this post on my Instagram and then was like, let's make some cool egg designs. And I just showed you today here how you can make your own egg designs. Just wanted to do a quick little live stream showing that process to make this space even more accessible. Because 3D stuff is, you know, maybe not the easiest to learn, but I don't want it to be so scary that people don't try it at all. So yeah, and you could do a lot of this for free inside of Blender. So I used almost all paid tools today. You know, Cinema 4D is a paid thing. Adobe Substance 3D Painter is a paid thing. But you can do everything I just showed you for the most part with Blender. They'll do it with like slightly differently. They might use different name here and there for the same kind of like asset or prop, but it is in principle the same. You know, create your geometry, create your UV maps, paint your UV maps, export your model. And that's how we made the designs for Logan. But yeah, that's it. Short and sweet. Let me pull back up my this image. So that is how I made a $7 million egg design for Logan Paul. If you want proof that this actually happened, I'll put the link on screen. You can look for yourself. If you go to Crypto Zoo, Crypto Zoo is the NFT project that it's for. And yeah, you can go to cryptozoo.co. That's where you can buy the zoo tokens and learn all about that stuff. And then in this case, if you want to see where's the $7 million I'm talking about, I went to OpenSea.io and I just searched for Crypto Zoo. Crypto space zoo. And there it is. And there it is. Like, my egg design is the icon for it. And then there's the proof. So these are all the eggs that sold. Look at that. Look at the number of them. Pages and pages and pages of eggs for days. And yeah, these are all separate NFTs. There's 10,000 of them, and all 10,000 of them sold out. And then the volume traded is the equivalent of 2.4 thousand Ethereum, which is about $7.8 million. You can sort these from prices low to high, and you can see that how much stuff was being bid on. So if I go to buy now, right now everything's really expensive, but you can see like this one's worth 0.36 Ethereum coins, and this one's 0.39. This is, I think, sorting from low to high. Let's see what's the high side. Oh my God, someone's trying to sell this for 700,000 Ethereum, which is like, I don't even, it's like $1 trillion. But that's just, I think that you can throw that away. That's kind of a joke. I would say maybe stuff in the middle is a little bit more accurate. Oh wow, so someone bought this for 0.3 Ethereum, but they're selling it for 17 Ethereum. But it's just, I just feel so proud. I made all these eggs. I made these egg designs with the same techniques that I showed you today. And then just seeing that there's people placing bids on them, on the project that Logan Paul started, it feels really good inside my heart. It was like, he's actually really great to work with. I know there's mixed feelings about his content and stuff on the internet, but I can speak from a professional designer perspective. He's been a delightful customer to work with in designing stuff with, and he's, you know, he's awesome. He's hands-on. He's genuine. He's honest. He's clear with his requests. That's the kind of clients I like to work with. So Logan's been great, and yeah, I'm excited to see how this Crypto Zoo project pans out. I'm gonna learn a lot, you know, about it. But yeah, just seeing, like, I'm gonna use auto scroll here. I mean, just seeing like thousands, not thousands. Oh yeah, it is thousands. 10,000 eggs were sold in like under a week, and like that's wild. So I'm now gonna put this in my portfolio and tell other clients that I've made assets that have sold for millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, of dollars. So there you have it, folks. And all of them, you can click on them into OpenSea. Some of them you can buy, but look at this. This being right now, one Ethereum coin is worth $3,283. I can barely afford my own eggs that I designed. You know, so It's interesting how NFTs work. You know, these digital assets, and looks like there was 2 bids. Oh no, what is this? This is an offer. So 2 offers are made, but yeah. Let me see which ones are on auction right now. Oh no, none of them are on auction. Oh, there they are on auction. So right now there is this one on auction. Let's see what's happening here. Let me check the history. All right, so 10 days ago, this egg was purchased for 0.1 Ethereum. And then it was transferred to some other person's wallet named Green Beast. And then Green Beast sold it for 1.36 Ethereum. And then it was transferred to a wallet known as Infinite Possibilities. And then it looks like Infinite Possibilities put it on sale currently for 1.49 Ethereum. So look at, I mean, that's pretty wild, right? Because 0.1 Ethereum, and then just like within a day, the thing went up to over $4,000. And that's wild. That's wild. And it was only minted 10 days ago. So that means as soon as the thing was minted and put on the blockchain, Green Beast places a bid, gets the sale, 0.1 Ethereum, and then sells it for, or sells it, you know, it's just wild. It's wild seeing how this stuff works. OpenSea, by the way, is a great marketplace. So I like to kind of, you know, a lot of the people that follow my content here on Instagram and Twitter are part of the XR space, so AR, VR, mixed reality, sonic realities. And so how I'm now speaking directly to you, if you're an XR creator, try to find out ways that you can get your 3D assets into a marketplace like OpenSea, which is free. Anyone can create, right now you would sign in with your wallet, and then you can create your own NFTs and make a collection. Let's say you have like a bunch of illustrations that you do, and you want to turn them into NFTs that people want to place bids on and put auctions on. The question that people, you know, that really happens though is, why are people buying stuff for so much money? You know, why are people sending, you know, $7 million buying my eggs for the crypto zoo coin? The reason has to do with like perceived senses of value. So because people believe that there's value behind these eggs and they put money down, then they are worth that much. If everyone thought that these were worthless and decided to not buy them, then they wouldn't have any value. They would be $0. So be careful right now. There's a lot of scams that I've been seeing lately with collectibles, like a lot, because, you know, they're trying to get people to buy into an idea. I think, this is my own opinion at this point, but I think one reason why Crypto Zoo is doing so well is because people believe in Logan Paul as a brand, as being relevant to people in society. And so since they think he's relevant, they probably think that the value of the egg is going to be tied to the perceived worth and value and zeitgeist of, you know, Logan Paul as a brand and stuff. So that's probably why, like sure, you can, you know, I could make my own. I bet what would happen is if I made this egg myself and I put it up on OpenSea, since I'm not Logan Paul and don't have any of the background or the reach, there's no way that I would put an egg out there and that my collection would sell for $7 million by myself. I think that's only happening because the brand tied to who is, you know, authenticating the eggs is worth that much to people in their mind. Airlock says, been forever, bro. Your success is freaking great now, man. Oh wow, thank you so much, Airlock. It's good to see you back here. I'm happy. Let me flip the screen here. I'm very happy right now, and it's just wild. This is the stuff that happens in the space. I mean, I love AR and VR, and I love 3D technologies, and then I'm so happy, like right in that convergence of NFTs started happening. So then it's like, you know, there's like real value, because, you know, in the past you had to try to explain what was the value of AR, like why is a virtual asset valuable to anybody? And now I just cite NFTs. I'm like, well, look at this. People are spending millions on CryptoPunks. These are virtual assets that are just, you know, 2D sprites on a screen. What if that sprite was a 3D asset? What if you could wear it, you know, and wear that NFT? So I'm really mind blown that we've been working with Logan Paul. I made an egg. I'll show you again. I'll just flip the screen. This is the egg design I made for them, for those of you just joining. I made this egg for Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo, and they sold about $7.8 million worth of eggs were sold. And so today's live stream was all about how I made that egg. And I just showed little techniques on how to make your own eggs. And this is inside of Substance Painter where we're painting lights onto, this is just a little dummy egg that I'm doing for fun. F-U-N, fun. But the same techniques I did for fun here in the live stream are the same professional techniques that I did when designing the egg, when designing the formal egg. Let me flip the camera around, see if there's any questions. We got a question from Matthew Convento on YouTube. It says, Don, in the DMs on stuff, so you can test the stuff on here later. Oh, yeah, we can definitely test stuff later. We got some questions coming in from, oh yeah, let's take questions. Yeah, let's take some questions. If you have any questions about this on Instagram, I'm here to answer questions about this. My whole goal is trying to democratize the XR space. I want everybody to be in here. I want all genders to be participating in it. I want all types of backgrounds and languages, religions, everyone. I want everyone to have access to XR futures, not just people that are like me. And that's part of the reason why I want to democratize a lot of the knowledge and how you even make these things, and even share that insight on how I got connected with Logan Paul in the first place. So Airlock has a question, says, do you have a link for that video you did with Corridor? Oh, I don't have, that's a good idea. I should put a link to that. Yeah, about 2 years ago now, I think Corridor Crew invited me up to talk to them about AR, and it's wild how much further AR has come since then. I don't have a link for it, but it is on Corridor Crew. So if you went on YouTube and searched Spark AR Corridor Crew, I think the video where I show them about AR will pop up. It was with Ren. We got another question coming in here from Rome. Rome the Life says, "Are you going to hatch it?" And this is dope. Yeah, so that's the fun, I guess. I'm still trying to learn what Crypto Zoo is. I only really know about it from an artist perspective. So I've been making assets for their game, for this blockchain decentralized app game, but I don't really know much about it, to be honest, other than the assets that they're using in it. So I don't know. I'm debating. Like I actually tried to buy an egg. It's really like, it's ironic. I made the egg here on the computer. You just saw how that was. And then I tried to buy an egg, but I got outbid. I think I bid like 0.3 Ethereum, which is like, I don't know how much that is. I can't do math in my head, but I bid 0.3, and then within like 10 minutes, someone outbid me for 1 ETH, which is around $4 grand at the time. And I'm like, oh man, I can't even afford, I'm not paying that for the egg I made. But I think if I did have an egg, I would probably want more than one. I'd probably want like one that I could keep and hold and not hatch, and then another one that I hatch and then see what's inside of it and then see if people want to trade on it or something. Let's see, we got some more questions. Mr. Allen EJ says, DM me about NFTs, please, thank you. I may not. It will depend on if what I'm reading in the DMs is intriguing and not spammy. I've been getting spammed with a lot of NFT projects lately that seem more like actual scams. And so it's kind of made me a little sour to talking about NFTs in the DMs, but it's gonna happen. All right, we got a question from Airlock. Says, would you be kind to send me a link of the collab you did with Team? With Team. What are you talking about? Which team? Collab. I don't know which team you're talking about. I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, let's see, is there any questions on YouTube? Oh yes, we got a question here on YouTube. It says, this is from Kumo Dot. Says, I love the NFT space and there's room to everyone. The fact is so much easier to be successful if you already have influence. It's a bit like a bug in this democratic matrix. Thank you for sharing. That's a great point. That's a very great point Kumo Dot made here on YouTube about how the success that people are seeing on NFTs is kind of tied to influence that you have on existing social channels. So when I say when I mentioned like democratizing NFT spaces, I'm gonna try to move both cameras next to each other so I can like look in one spot. I'm gonna push the phone right there. So when talking about like democratizing the NFT space, it is gonna, as of right now, it is gonna unbalancedly like be, it's gonna favor folks that already have a large reach on different social channels. So it's probably not for everybody, but here's an example. Like maybe you're someone like me who I could try to make my own collectible thing and sell those NFTs, or you can use your artist skills to help make the assets for somebody else to sell as NFTs, right? Like that's what I'm doing here with Logan Paul. Is I can, instead of making my own collection, I'm just doing contract work. I'm doing a contract to design some stuff, and then that product's going to get sold as NFTs. But my transaction is kind of like just a traditional freelancer. So, I think that still democratizes the space, because if other businesses and brands like Logan are going to need NFTs in the future, I'm not going to be as big as them, but I can help support them as an artist because they don't have those abilities. So that's kind of where I see the cross collaboration being and the democratization of NFTs. Not so much in everybody having their own collection project. I don't think that's going to work. I mean, clearly it doesn't work for everybody. Oh, I've got a question from Dot on YouTube. Says, have you seen any projects that incorporated AR worths of NFTs? Yes. So I've actually made my own. I made a few on OpenSea. I made virtual outfits that are only going to be given to people. They're like Snapchat filters, like where you can actually wear like an augmented reality garment, but you can only access it if you purchased an NFT. So I've done some like that. I've also seen a few other artists that make them so that you buy the NFT and then they send a QR code, and then when someone scans that QR code, they can unlock other cool stuff. But the QR code is only sent once they bought the NFT. And then the way that I can't share that yet, dang it. There is a way to make it so that only an owner of an NFT can use a filter, but I haven't had permission to share how to do that yet. I will when I get the chance, but that one's not public yet. We got another question from Kumo Dot on YouTube says, the world's like that, not an NFT problem, and you sharing the process helps on that balance. Oh wow, thank you so much. Yeah, that's my goal here. I want to democratize the space by making the knowledge accessible. There's 3 groups that I try to be like, or like I guess who I want to emulate with the content that I'm making here. I want to be like Bob Ross meets Andrew Kramer from VideoCopilot.net meets Corridor Crew, but for the XR, AR, and VR space. I can mix those 3 entities together: Bob Ross, Andrew Kramer, VideoCopilot.net, Corridor Crew, and Beeple. Let's add that. If I can mix all of them into an entity, I want to be that entity, but for the AR, VR, and XR space. So where I make my money is not from monetizing the audience with courses and stuff. That's not really where I make the money. I make it from brands and businesses that see this stuff and then they try to do it themselves. They struggle. They don't want to waste time, so then they'll just hire me to do it for them. I get paid through speaking events. Like, oh yeah, Adobe Max next month. Please check out Adobe Max. I'm going to be speaking. I have a whole presentation on how you can use just Adobe products to do the whole AR VR pipeline. It's possible now. They have enough tools. It works. So my whole presentation at Adobe Max this year is going to be all about using how to use Adobe tools to do all the AR stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting time, and I feel like if people are going to just keep creating walled gardens for their tools and their learnings, it's going to keep a lot of people behind and prevent a lot of people from participating in the metaverse, and that's not cool, in my opinion. Okay, we've got another question coming in here on Instagram from Airlock. Says, Corridor Crew and the video you did with them, would you be kind enough to send me a link? Thanks. I'm gonna say no, because I can't multitask very well. What I'm saying is literally how I would be finding the link is I would go onto YouTube and type in Spark AR Corridor Crew, and the video. I think the video should pop up if you do that. We got a question from Dot on YouTube. Says, is it by a smart contract? Yes. So I think each NFT egg is a smart contract. So in order to have them even appear here on OpenSea, which they did, I think each one of these is a smart contract where it's tracking the record of that that NFT, you know, in their space. So all those eggs are going to be. I think each one of these is its own smart contract, and you could take a look at that contract by clicking on to Etherscan. And where's Etherscan? Where is it? Oh yeah, you can go to the address here, and then you could like study it. Oh wait, no, that's the person. I'm not sure which one it is. How do you see the smart contract? I forgot. Oh, maybe it's under details. Yeah, there is contract address, and then you can click on that number, and this will get you the smart contract and exactly what was the agreement. I don't know, but if you're super into crypto, this will make sense to you on seeing, you know, who created it, what and when, what was the value exchange. Yeah. But cool. There you have it, folks. That was just a quick dive into my $7 million egg design for Logan Paul. It's kind of like a clickbaity kind of thumbnail, because it's not like one egg sold for 7 million, but the collection of 10,000 eggs that I made, those sold for over 7 million, and that did happen like this last week, which just blows my mind. Oh, we got a question on YouTube. Says MM says, love your work, Don. Oh wow, thanks, thank you so much. I've got another question come in from Dot. Says, I've seen so many talented 3D artists that left aside this is definitely a lane they should jump into quick. Yeah, because like I know there's like a lot of environmental concerns with crypto, but there's a lot of different cryptocurrencies, some of them that don't actually use any fossil fuels. So like Binance coin, for example, doesn't use the same proof of work algorithm. It's not as heavy at all. And then I think Ethereum 2.0 should be coming out before the end of the year, and that one uses, I think, 98% less power. Oh yeah, thank you, Airlock. I'm happy you found it on Instagram. And then let's see, there's a lot of different chains. There's also Hyptanuke. I'm gonna totally butcher the name of that, but that one is it's not Ethereum at all, and the gas fees are really low. There's a lot of different options, is what I'm saying, for crypto. You don't have to go the environmentally destructive way. All right, now we got another question from Kumo Dot on YouTube. Says, when you create an egg that hatches, does it mint a second NFT with its own contract and burn itself? I'll be honest, I have no idea. I don't really know exactly what the assets I'm making are being used for in the game that I made for Logan Paul. My role was really just like designer. I designed that egg and other eggs, but I can't share those ones yet because they're not public eggs yet. This is the only one that I saw that was public so far. I think there's gonna be, I'm not gonna say how many more, but that's not the only egg. Let's just say that. And then, but I have no idea what they're gonna be used for. I just know you buy them and then you can use them to either hatch or participate in some stuff. Let me see, is there anything else I wanted to say? So yeah, that was like a little bit of a Substance Painter tutorial, a little bit about marketing, a little bit about NFTs. It's getting a little all over the place, but pretty fun. Let me see, any other questions coming up on Instagram or on YouTube? We'll kind of just do a little bit of Q&A here before we wrap up. We got another question from Kumo Dot on YouTube. Says, or does it just carry two versions of itself and swap? Yeah, I wish I could have an answer for you. I don't know. They did release a blog post today that goes into specifics on Zoo token. That's the yield farming currency. Where is it? If I can find it. If you go to, I think the most up-to-date information is on Twitter. And if you go to Twitter, Crypto Zoo, you should read this. I haven't read it yet, so I think I would be more able to answer it. So yeah, it's Crypto Zoo Co. That's the official YouTube or official Twitter account for the stuff. And then they released this article today. Wait, September 12th, yesterday. It says, what is the Zoo token? It's this website. I think will probably give. I think you'll have your answer from reading this. I haven't finished reading it yet. I read this much of it. The Zoo token is the underlying asset that backs the whole Crypto Zoo network. We will explore the Zoo ecosystem and what the future can look like. That's all I read. So, you read the rest. Okay, let's see other questions coming up here on Instagram. We got some questions. Any questions? Nope, we're good with the questions there. All right, any last questions? Oh, cool, you put it into, we got, let's see, wait, no, I don't see it there. You mind talking about the price you charge them to make the egg? Great question, Dot. I'm not sharing that. I'm not sharing how much I charge to make the eggs. Yup. I'm leaving that information out as I'm leaving that information in the dark for now. I do have videos that talk about how to price stuff when you're working with clients, but I'm not sharing this one at this time. Yeah, I charge an amount, but I'm not saying how much. Not for now. Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up? This again is being streamed live to YouTube as we speak and can be accessible after the fact. We got nice, audio systems going on over here. I made a pretty thumbnail for the video. I learned that the YouTube thumbnails that perform better is when you have a human face that has some kind of emotion that's clear. That, for whatever reason, increases the click-through rate dramatically. It's really silly, but it is what it is. Oh, we got a question from Kumo Dot. Says, thanks for the answers. I'm starting to use procedural work on Substance Designer to create generative collections. Not too big, but Substance Designer is perfect for that. You are spot on. Yeah, Substance Designer, I'll just give you a little peek at that. Substance Designer is like Substance Painter, but with proceduralism, more proceduralism. It's kind of like Houdini meets Substance Painter. So I'll show you the icon for it. It is this DS. It's Substance Designer. It's really cool and probably perfect for making a whole bunch of similar procedural assets. So how it works is you get this graph at the top of the screen, which is like your chart. Oh, it's still loading. Give it a second. So this graph on the top of the screen is like where you create your procedural workflow, and then down here is where you see the end result. I don't know why it's not letting me click in here though. It's definitely open. There might be like a welcome screen that I'm not seeing. I'm gonna just do new package, just do a new substance graph, do an empty one. There we go. Okay. So here's Substance Designer. It's very much like I would say it's like it's like Houdini, and it's also like Substance Painter. So the way it works is you click up here and you add nodes. You can add all kinds of nodes. So I'm going to start off with maybe, just to give you a little example, I'm going to grab like a pattern shape. So I'm going to scroll through here and look for like an alpha. So I'm going to add a node. Let's look for I just want a shape. Or actually we can do text. No, I want to do a shape. You can also just you can hit spacebar and start typing. So let me see if there's a shape one. Cool, so here's a shape. Actually, no, I'll just type in the shape. I'll do a star. So you can put a star in here, and then I can feed that star into another tile, like a tiler. I can do a tile generator, or I can do a tile random. I'll do a tile generator. So what this is doing is it's taking the star texture and it's throwing it through a tiler, and then you can grab where it should be receiving that data from. So I can say, if I go to pattern, there's an option to update the pattern attribute. Where is the pattern coming from? There it is, pattern. I'm going to set this to be a shape input or image input. And so now this shape is what pattern it's going to make. And now I can start modifying that pattern. I hope. I don't know why I'm not seeing anything. Maybe I don't set it to pattern. This is a bad tutorial. I don't use Designer as much as Painter. And as of now, I mostly use it by in niche instances. A lot of what I can do can be done through Painter, but I'm totally blanking out on what to do on Designer right now. Normally I'd be seeing my pattern. Maybe it's not a tile generator, maybe it's just tile random. Let me try that instead. Tile sampler is what I usually use. And then I go to the pattern input. if I can find the word pattern, there it is, and then change this pattern to pattern input. And then I should be able to hopefully see some stuff. I don't see anything happening. All right, bad demo. My apologies. Ignore this part. I need more practice in Substance Designer. But essentially, you create these graphs. You can bring shapes in and like input stuff together, and you can combine stuff. They have like mix nodes and blend nodes and level nodes, and it's really cool. And it all outputs to like an end result at the end of the day. But I don't have enough practice in it to feel comfortable live streaming. I haven't done much lives in Designer because I need a lot more help in it. You got me. Hope you got paid well, brother, says Danny. Oh, thanks. We got another, Danny says, thanks for being someone in the space, sharing what you've learned as you go. Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, because like I need to learn more about Substance Designer to feel better in it. Your shape is plugged in as the background. Put it as the first slot. Oh, thank you. Maybe that will solve the problem. Let's put this in as the tile sampler. And let's feed this into the brush pattern input. Get rid of the background. Now our tile sampler should be a bit friendlier. Then we go to the pattern recognition and set it to pattern input. There we go. And now we can change the number of instances. We can also do things like the random rotation of different stars, symmetrical random. We can change the size of the stars. We also can change things like the the position random. So all of this can be plugged into a material, or you can feed it into like a normal map. So now if I wanted like a bunch of bumpy stars, I could then apply this to the material of my object, and then you can save this whole entire graph as a procedural material, bring it in a Substance Painter, and like still have the ability to change stuff on the fly. Like let's say I wanted to merge it with something in here. We could do RGB merge it with this, and now we have this weird normal map mixed with this mosaic pattern. And then this becomes my output, and I could keep feeding this and combining this to make really cool textures. Maybe I wanted to turn into an emboss. I don't know. But that's kind of how Substance Designer works. Oh, thank you so much. Drew. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was excited when he reached out, and it's been a delight working with him. Kumo says, my ArtStation is full of examples. If you need some shameless plug, it's Kumo there too. Do you have a profile for me to follow? Oh yeah. Let's go. We got a shout out from Kumo who has some resources. So it's Kumo and he says that's on ArtStation. ArtStation. Let's take a look. Is this you, Marcelo Souza? And look at that. We got some really good Substance Designer patterns and materials. This is a way better example of how you can use procedural workflows. So these beautiful glitter textures are amazing, and these were most likely made with the combination of Substance Designer and Substance Painter. And then, yeah, if you don't want to spend time learning that, I guess you can buy it from our friend Marcelo here. There you go. Little shout out for our viewers. We've got another question here. Mike, Michelle, hello. A bit off topic. Have you worked on any XR experiences using Unity? Yes, I have, but my role was kind of similar to my role here with Logan, where I'm designing assets that are going to be used for Unity, but myself having experience, no programming in Unity. I've not developed anything on Unity. I've just been I've developed assets, animations, textures, props, environments for Unity, but not I haven't really played with it. Yeah, so there you go. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Please reach out to me. Actually, you know what I want to maybe start encouraging people to do? Maybe ask me questions on Twitter so that it's more available for everybody. Because right now I get all my really awesome questions coming in as private DMs, and then I answer them and stuff. But then that becomes, siloed off. Only that person got the value out of that information that other people could also use. So if you have ideas and questions, please tweet them to me on my Twitter, which is the same as my Instagram name. It is Don Allen III. Send me tweets of your questions in the XR space, NFT space, AR space, Adobe space, everything space. I love this stuff. The metaverse is upon us. But there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Maybe I'll end it on the image of what it was about. So that was how we go about making an egg design for Logan Paul, and hopefully this was pretty useful. Oh, we got one more question from Drew on Instagram. It says, random question, would you recommend Clarice by Isotopics? Is that for painting? It is good. Let me see if that's the one I'm thinking of. Let me do Clarice by Isotopics. Let me see if I remembered this one. I spelled everything wrong. If it's a painting material, everything's great. They all have just different perks if it's a different substance painting material. And I think there was one more question I saw pop up here in the live stream. OpenSea has a lot of docs for the ones who want to drop their own smart contracts and collections. That is true. Thank you so much, Matthew Convento, for putting the link to it on in the comments. But that's all for now. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you being here. Full video on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and end that stream now. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, I think we have ended the stream onto YouTube. And then I'll go ahead and end the stream here on Instagram. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you learned some cool stuff. And that's it. Bye-bye.